Yeah, the game did feel like that, didn't it? It felt like a high-paced, high-intensity game. Certainly, the person with the ball in his hand didn't have a lot of time, so there was a lot of live ball within the game. So generally that is a strength of ours. It's probably something that we were shaded on in the night, though. The Bulldogs were able to do that more consistent across the night, not just at clearance, but certainly either ends of it was a bit of a challenge at times. So that made the scoreboard sort of hard to keep in check. So as you noticed, both sides were going inside 50 and scoring pretty well. So it was almost then become a volume question. Could we get it there more than them? And they were able to do that clearly, and then they were able to score off the back of it. So that meant we were on the chase probably for most of the game. Never really felt like we were. Maybe that's a bit harsh. It never felt like we were in a position to win it. That sort of kept it as bay for most of the game. That sort of 10 to 15, 16 points was sort of hovering in that space, and every time we closed, they got an easy one back. And so no credit to the Dogs. I mean, like, they brought a really consistent level of performance today, and they stuck at the task they needed to, and we weren't able to do the same.
Apart from, the numbers look pretty good, but apart from your captain, it felt like you got a smacking in the midfield to an extent. How did you feel that the midfield went overall?
It was an efficiency question.
Yeah.
In terms of the numbers, as you said, were quite even. The ball sort of skirted on the edges at times, and they probably took it away a little bit easier. But it also says in the numbers that they kick 4 goals from centre square bounce, and they kick goals from defensive 50 stoppages. So they're two score sources you probably don't account for. Not that big a number. So we're always sort of somewhat on the back foot to try and generate our own scores from something else as well. So again, in transition, we're all right. But I think from a stoppage, not about the pure number. It's probably about the efficiency of that number.
Can you tell us a little bit about, obviously Cripps was pretty good today, and just, I guess, the impact that he has on your footy club as a whole?
What hasn't been spoken about him this week? It's I want to speak about him. Clearly, get a smile on the face even in a loss. But look, he obviously stands for some great values as a person, and has those leadership qualities that people want to follow, and he's self-made man, and that he's been curious since the day he got here, and that's all I've ever heard, and he's just made himself better over time, and we've lost this game, but I know that he's desperate for success for this club, and I don't think anyone's riding that horse harder than Patrick Cripps. He's been fantastic for this football club and continue to be a great leader of our club, and it's a privilege to be working beside him as that captain.
He had the team in a circle after the game. Was that just to note the 200, or was there anything more to that than?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think where Cripps really developed himself is that he can sort of zoom out, and he can sort of feel the energy of the group, and he knows where he needs to take him. I'm not sure what he said. I won't ask what he said. That's between him and his players, and what I will say is that. I hope they all listened, and whatever did come out of his mouth, and we just got to reset ourselves. So that's we've had a couple of games now, a couple of losses. About resetting, it's obviously quite clear what we need to be able to get after, and we've got to get a couple of things that we need to correct, and just sort of get a little bit more consistent in what they currently are.
Alarm bells ringing at all?
No. We look over the course of 23 games. That's the way we look at it. We also respect the competition. So, and you only got to cast an eye over the ladder to sort of say how close it is. So it's marginal. And when you're operating the back end of the season, you got teams that are fighting for their spots, and we're no different. So what is it? There's 6 games to go. Is there? So it's that's getting tighter, and. All teams have got to decide on what they want, and a few have still got a say in it. So we obviously clearly want to have a big say in that, but that's, our focus is firmly fixed on making sure that we bring that consistency over 23 games, and we've got 6 to go, and some things we need to be able to get after that game, but that's the way we'll treat it. We'll get after it pretty hard, and we'll make ourselves better.
A couple of blokes. Williams, is that a hamstring?
I think so. Yeah.
And also, Wiedering looked like he was really good early. A lot of intercept marks, and he sort of doubled over at one point in the third quarter. And as the game went on, he just looked a bit banged up. Is he okay?
He's fine. Yeah, he's fine. So it's what happens when you get knocked in the back a few times when maybe you're not supposed to. But he's doing a great job down there. He leads us so very well, and he's obviously a critical player for us, and continue to be.
Do you want to expand on that?
No, not really. I'll leave it at there. I've probably said too much already.
How did you see Charlie Curnow's performance? Generated a lot of obviously shots on goal, but didn't convert how he would have liked. It felt like he sort of was getting back to his best form today, even though he didn't convert.
Look, I just put the banner over the consistency we need to be able to be as a footy team. So individuals play roles within that, and clearly Charlie and Harry and whoever's in the forward line, they play important roles within that. But for us, it's sort of a collective effort, and Charlie had his turn today, had a couple of looks, didn't convert all his looks. But at the same time, the game itself, it sort of felt like we were just sitting behind them the whole time. We're on the chase the whole time, so maybe you just force a few things that you shouldn't, and we weren't able to get the scoreboard ticking over as much as what we wanted to. Clearly,
you went back to the 2 rucks tonight. Was that because De Koning was sore after last week?
Yeah, a little bit. So again, that sort of comes down to that consistency question over 23 games. And we've got to look at our list and our squad, and we're still learning a lot about it. We've had some players that have played some really important roles over shorter periods of time, and we're still evolving as a footy team. So there's nothing that's set. We seem to be somewhat, sorted by that conversation. Like, is it 1? Is it 2? It's we're really fortunate. We've got some strengths in our team, and we've got 2 guys that can play ruck very, very well, and Tom can impact forward as well. So. Probably didn't impact as well as what we wanted it tonight, but we feel like it's a strength of ours, and if we need to explore it in the late half of the year, who's to say we won't need it by the time we get to the back end of the year? So, I would say it probably didn't have its effect tonight, but I don't think it's sort of about 1 or 2. It's about what gives us the best chance to be able to be a consistent team over a course of a long period of time.
How much with Harry and Charlie was it what was going on up the field? I think Harry had one disposal after half time. It looked so threatening early. Was it just over, I think the inside 50s in the third quarter were 20 to 10 Bulldogs way?
Yeah.
Was it just that they just couldn't get enough clean ball to build on the games that looked like?
Yeah, I'd probably have to look at that a bit closer, I think. I'd be probably speculating a bit about what that actually is. Certainly supplies one thing, that's for sure. I mean, during the third quarter, when you're up against it and the ball's not going up the other end, it's hard to when you don't have the supply. So, look, I think that's sort of something I'd probably wait a couple of days on and do the review on, and can be a bit clearer.
They're inside 50s. They were well ahead. Is that maybe because you guys had a bit of trouble clearing it from defence? Was it hard at times to get there?
That's a good enough point. I mean, there was enough turnovers in the back half. There was some efficiency, no doubt. So when we had our opportunities to go back the other way, it was we weren't probably as good as what we needed to be. So again, that's part of the game of around how do we become a little bit more consistent, a bit more predictable at what that looks like for us, because we have certain roles that we need played in offence, and we have roles we need played in offence. And I felt like we were sort of, at times, not very reliable, as reliable as we needed to be. But again, we're probably not giving enough credit to the Dogs here as well. I just sort of felt like they brought an appetite for the contest. They clearly dialed up their defence from last week. It's something that was certainly discussed. With our lead up to this game, but they got a few things in their favour today, and we just weren't able to go at it for long enough.
When you did win the ball back in the back line, like especially Newman and Wiedering, there was a lot of slowing it down and trying to take a bit of pace out of the game, especially in the first 3 quarters. Was that a plan going into it, or was that a response to the way the Dogs were playing?
Well, sometimes you play what the opposition give you. But look, I don't think I don't think any team's really sort of trying to put foot to the floor for 120 minutes. Putting composure on it at different times was important. But look, I'm not diving into the detail of our ball movement, just for the sheer fact that it's probably given too much away. So we'll just rest on that it wasn't good enough tonight.
Jack Martin's playing VFL tomorrow, I believe. What are you sort of hoping to see from him tomorrow?
He just needs to get back and start playing. I don't have any expectations at this point in time. He's been out for a long period of time. You know, he's obviously fully fit, a very important player to us. So, yes, I mean, all he needs to concentrate on is just getting himself through tomorrow and, you know, hopefully get through that healthy and we can continue to be that squad.
Yep. And Mitch McGovern, how's he tracking for next week?
He's 1 to 2 weeks, so at this point in time we'll sort of assess it maybe early in the week to sort of see where he's at.
Was Williams your only casualty?
Who's that, sorry?
Williams?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.